Damn it, Toby. Pick up the phone.
So now I'm pretty good. Is that the Devonta? Say something.
Rahubat.
Rahubat.
Hey, so I got a question about a few questions about Egypt and Africa at the time that you were speaking about now. So when Ethiopia was paradise on earth, was it only like that at the Horn, or was the entirety of Egypt, Africa, like that as well?
Okay, it was the whole area. The reason why we say that because there was what we call the land was called Ghana, and there was like a force field that separated that land, which we call Nupu, as opposed to the land that was towards what we call the Middle East, which was known as Zupu.
If y'all look at this previous video that I did before this one, the individual that's speaking is speaking on 9 ether forces and Nupu and asking, Nawabians to come together by way of the positive forces of nature, which is Nupu, to free Dr. York and unify. So how you go from saying that 9 ether is a force and Nupu is a force and an energy that'll help y'all synergize and come together, then you say that it's a land and that Zupu is the Middle East. That don't make no sense. Let's continue.
So that land, what's referred to as Africa, gone all the way back to North and South America. All that was our land of Nagad Nadu, and that was referred to as.
So is this similar to is this around the same time period where it was called Pangaea?
That's right, 100% right. But yeah, we never called it, again, that's what the Greeks called it, Pangaea or Pangaea, before the continental drift. But so 100% right. But,
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so then what caused the continental drift? Was this just an act of natural nature, or was this forced because of interference or something?
Yeah, there was a calamities on the planet Earth, different extraterrestrials fighting for this land, and it caused a split in the planet Earth, and that split also resulted in a tilt of the planet Earth.
Oh, so the same time when the winds of Nibiru hit Earth, that caused the continental drift as well?
Yeah, that caused more than a continental drift. That split the planet in half.
Yeah, okay. So it's two separate events.
Yeah, there's been many replenishing on the planet Earth, and the continental, the crust of Nibiru, because the planet Earth was twice the size as it is now.
Yeah.
That split the planet Earth. Then you also had wars as well, when people started to, there's wars, especially in an area of land called Atlantis, when that also was hit by calamities as well. So prior to that, people on North and South America, and they were known as the Anasazi, or as the Olmecs. They're the ones who walked over to North and South America prior to the continental drift, or the splitting of the planet.
So here I wanted to go into what he was talking about as far as the Anasazi or Anastasi people is concerned. So I said, are the Anastasi people the same as the Olmecs? He said, no, they're distinct cultures separated by both geography and time. The Anasazi, more accurately called Puebloans today, Anasazi is a Navajo term some find inappropriate, so archaeologists and many Puebloan descendants prefer the newer name. Lived in the Four Corners region of the American Southwest: Colorado, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. They flourished roughly 100 to 1600 CE, famous for cliff dwellings like Mesa Verde and Chaco Canyon's great houses. They're the ancestors of modern Pueblo peoples like the Hopi and Zuni. The Olmecs lived far to the south in the Gulf Coast lowlands of Mexico, modern Veracruz and Tabasco states, and flourished much earlier, roughly 1200 to 400 BCE. They're often called Mesoamerica's mother culture because of their influence on later civilizations like the Maya and Aztec. Known for colossal carved stone heads, early writing calendar systems, and ceremonial centers like La Venta and San Lorenzo. So the two never overlapped. Different regions, Southwest US versus Gulf Coast Mexico. Different time periods over 1,000 years apart at their peaks, different language, families, and no direct cultural continuity between them. They're sometimes confused because both are prominent ancient Native American civilization names people encounter, but they belong to entirely separate cultural traditions. So I asked, can you show me on the map where both would have lived geographically? So here is where the Anasazi would have lived. And here is where the Anasazi settled. And here is where the Olmecs settled. Two different locations on the map. So they are not the same people. So I said, did the Anasazi make their way to North and South America prior to the continental drift? They said, no, that's not possible chronologically. Continental drift operates on a geological timescale of tens to hundreds of millions of years. The Americas split apart from other landmasses as part of the breakup of Pangaea roughly 180 million years ago, and the Atlantic Ocean has been slowly widening ever since, long, long before any humans existed anywhere on Earth. I will add in here, I don't know if their time frames are correct, but the fact still remains that what he's saying is not true. The Anasazi, ancestral Puebloans, by contrast, exist only about 100 to 1600 CE, roughly 1900 years ago at the earliest. They were already living in North America in the Four Corners region specifically. There was no making their way across drifting continents involved. If you're thinking of how humans did first arrive in the Americas, that's a separate and much more recent story. Okay? So, I asked, it is also said that Nibiru hit Earth and cracked the continent in half. Is this true? No, this isn't supported by any scientific evidence. Here's the factual picture. The Nibiru claim, which Tar spoke on multiple times. The Nibiru claim itself, the idea of Nibiru, sometimes called Planet X, as a rogue planet that periodically approaches or collides with Earth, originated from 1976 book by Zachariah Stitchin, who claimed to reinterpret ancient Sumerian texts as describing a 12th planet in our solar system. Mainstream Assyriologists and Sumerologists who actually read cuneiform have rejected this interpretation. It's not what the original text described. The idea was later popularized further through internet doomsday predictions. There were widely circulated claims it would hit Earth in 2003, then 2012, the various other dates, none of which happened. Why astronomers reject it? A planet-sized object approaching Earth would be visible to both professional and amateur astronomers years in advance. It would affect the orbits of other planets, be trackable by telescopes, and be impossible to hide. NASA and astronomers worldwide have repeatedly confirmed no such object exists on a collision course. On continents cracking in half, this is also not how plate tectonic works. Continents didn't split from a sudden impact. They moved due to slow-moving convection currents in Earth's mantle at a rate of a few centimeters per year, similar to how fingernails grow over hundreds of millions of years. There's no geological evidence of a catastrophic planetary collision in Earth's relatively recent past that split continents apart.
Damn it, Toby, pick up the phone.
So when the planet split, some of us were on what we call Africa is, and some of them were already on the other side of North South America.
So I'm just trying to get the timelines right in my head, because I know that when I say we, obviously the original people, it was paradise, it was great, but then obviously we had these other interferences by extraterrestrials. But I'm trying to understand, like, what were we doing, like, before then? Like, were we just migrating and it was just paradise on Earth? Because then we hear stories about these wars going on and fighting. Like, who are we fighting with other than ourselves?
Right. There was a period of time on the planet Earth, going back millions of years, there was a period of time on the planet Earth where death didn't exist. This is going back to what we call the SMAT circle, whereby we have, within the SMAT circle, we have the evolutionary cycle. We have the, start again, from 6 o'clock going to 3 o'clock was called the revolutionary cycle. Above that, we've got the origination cycle. From 3 o'clock to 12 o'clock, from 12 o'clock to 9 o'clock, that's called the de-origination cycle. And from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock, that's called the evolutionary cycle. Get that? So you have the circle, draw it into quarters. The bottom right quarter, that we refer to as the revolutionary cycle, which we are in right now. Draw a circle, put it into quarters. The bottom right-hand corner, put revolutionary cycle. Above that, you've got the origination cycle.
What happens in that quarter?
Right. In that half of the circle on the right side, there's no death. The thing called death never existed. We had a physical body then. We had a physical body. This is when we was in the waters.
Okay.
Yeah, the seas, underneath the seas. Okay. Before we came onto land.
You see, when we were, sorry to keep cutting you off.
Okay.
You see, when we were in the waters and it was in the origination of us, trying to get my question right, like, is the depictions of what these evolutionary things look like? Because I've seen evolutionary images of, like, what the whale used to look like. It used to have 4 legs, be on land, and then it went into the water, etc. Like, so are there depictions of what we looked like then?
The master.
But we're not ready for that yet.
The master hasn't put it out yet. Let's put it that way.
All right, so Dr. York clearly stole this from Afroo Oonoo in the Introduction to the Nature of Nature. And there's so many different versions of the SMAT circle, but this is the one that I'm going to show that he's basically referencing. To start off, he's saying that we are currently in this cycle here, the revolutionary cycle. Incorrect. And I went and did a video on this multiple times because there are too many individuals saying that we are already on the right side. That is not true. What determines that shift is the 3 South cataclysm, which has not occurred. It has not occurred yet. So we are still physically in the evolutionary cycle, very close to the 3. We have not hit that mark where we are on the right side of the SMAT circle of order. No cataclysm has happened, and that is what determines that shift. Secondly, he's saying that it's broken up into 4 quarters, where the top is 12, the bottom is 6 o'clock, and then the left and the right are I think he said 9 and 3. and that's inaccurate. These are the correct numbers that are on the smash circle of order. And when it comes to him talking about the top half of the smash circle, where he's talking about how, you know, there was no death at the top, that is accurate, but he got that from Afroo. They need to give credit where it's due, because Dr. York did not teach that. Dr. York never wrote that. Okay? So, to continue on, there was a time where death did not exist. That is true. But once the cataclysm came on 6 West, that's when our ancestors died out by way of a flood. And then they became other beings after that.
Okay.
When Martin put it out there. However, people say, can you prove that you was in the waters? Well, all you have to do is look at your hand, open it up, look at the back of your hand, and you see remnants of webs. Can you see it? In between the fingers.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a bit sharp now, but the remnants are there.
Between the thumb and the index.
Yeah, you can see, yeah. If you look between them, you can see remnants of webs. If you look closer at your skin, you can see little sharp diamond shape within your skin. You see, which are one scales. Our tonsils and appendix were used as gills or utilized for buoyancy when it was in the waters. Obviously, as time went on, we evolved into this form that we are in now, and we are continually evolving.
So this is an adaptation to land we're talking about.
That's right, an adaptation to land. That's right.
Oh, you heard him previously say that Dr. York did not provide any examples or teach about, you know, what the pygmy gods may have looked like.
You see, when we were in the waters and we was in the origination of us, where did, trying to get my question right, like, is the depictions of what these evolutionary things look like? Because I've seen evolutionary images of like what the whale used to look like. It used to have like, it used to have 4 legs, be on land, then it went into the water, etc. Like, so are there depictions of what we looked like then?
The master.
But we're not ready for that yet.
The master hasn't put it out yet. Let's put it that way.
Which is true, he did not. But y'all can't repeat information from a book that actually shows examples of what those pygmy gods look like and then say that it was never taught. That doesn't make no sense. Because in the nature books, it talks about the pygmy gods, it talks about the tonsils, it talks about the gills and buoyancy and all of these things. And I've done videos on it. Here's one, for example. But for him to say that there was no examples, this is what they do when they want to discredit people who they're stealing from. Because y'all were not teaching none of this. Y'all was not saying that y'all was pygmies, and he's not even using the word pygmy.
Toby, pick up the phone.
Dr. York originally taught that we had reptilians or Anunnaki or extraterrestrial ancestry. He never taught nothing about no pygmy gods. He never taught anything about having gills and a buoy system or any of that nature. But if y'all want to learn anything else to prove that we wasn't reptilians or any type of reptile being or extraterrestrial, watch these 3 videos that I put up. His part 1, part 2, and part 3 to get more information on that topic. So here's just a little skim through of videos that I've done on this subject. Those in the appendix. So in the introduction to the nature and nature, it says the appendixes of humanoids used to be buoy systems, and the tonsils of people today used to be gill systems. The flesh and blood gods and goddesses of the top half of the smash circle of order definitely needed these systems, which helped them be amphibious, capable of living on land and in water. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. So I did a lot of research. I did the research first, and then I went and let Claude check it, which is the AI or the ChatGPT, whatever you want to call it. But this is my research, and then I just had Claude clean it up a little bit. So it says both fish scales and human pharyngeal arches develop from the exact same embryonic structures. This means humans and aquatic animals share a common ancestral body plan. The same genetic blueprint is at work in both. In fish, the pharyngeal arches develop fully into functioning gills used to extract oxygen from water, allowing life in an aquatic environment. In humans, those same arches are redirected during a development into the jaw and facial bones, the middle ear bones, the larynx and throat cartilage, the thymus, and parathyroid glands. So as we can see here, we can see a slight comparison. So the amphibian connection, this is where it gets interesting in the context of the book. Amphibians, like frogs, actually use both systems at different life stages. A tadpole breathes through gills in water, then metamorphoses into a frog that breathes through lungs on land. The pharyngeal arches are essential to this transformation. And as we can see here, as we can compare the pharyngeal arches in a human embryo in comparison to the ones in a tadpole. This is in the early to mid to late stages, and this is when they become a full adult. You see the arches are still there, but they begin to breathe with lungs on the land. Okay. It says the book claims that the original flesh and blood pygmy gods were amphibians who had functioning gills, now vestigially present as tonsils, and a buoy system, now vestigially present as the appendix, follows a similar logic that over time, as these beings transition more permanently to land, those structures were repurposed or reduced, much like what mainstream science acknowledges happens with the pharyngeal arches themselves. So the embryonic evidence is real. The interpretation of it is what differs between the book and mainstream science. So I asked, are the tonsils part of pharyngeal arches? Yes, actually they are. The palatine tonsils, the ones most people are familiar with on either side of the throat, develop directly from the second pharyngeal arch and the surrounding pharyngeal pouch tissue. Here we can see the comparison. These are the palatine tonsils. These are the crypt openings. And here are the gills of fish. And these are close-up gill filaments in fish. So it says they decided to look into the second pharyngeal arch. The second pharyngeal arch is indeed commonly called the hyoid arch, and it contributes to the hyoid bone, the U-shaped bone in the throat that supports the tongue and aids in swallowing and speech. So this is how it looks. This is the U-shaped bone. This is the hyoid bone in the throat. And this is where it's located. Now I'm going to look into the etymology of the word hyoid. So here is a drawn example of the hydro pygmy and the first people on planet Earth, which included both sexes, which is male and female, right? So here we see this is the example. They are saying that there's no examples out there because they can't explain it. They can't prove it. This is the pygmy god that I've, made a 3D version of so people can have a better look at what the pygmy god would have looked like more in a physical form. Here's the geo pygmy, and they all have different types of they had different jobs they had to do on the planet. They had different physical makeup, different types of parts in their body that had different functions. They just can't prove this information. So he's gonna say that York never told it, because he didn't. But y'all still stealing from the book and lying like as if you guys didn't see these examples. You just can't prove it. Here's the arrow pygmy. And here's the pyro pygmy. There's others, but I'm gonna stop here so we can continue.
So could you just finish off the cycles?
Right, well done. So we said that the bottom right was the revolutionary cycle, the top right is called the origination cycle. From 12 to 9 o'clock, that top quarter is called the de-origination cycle. Yeah, the top left. Yeah, and the corner, that's called the de-origination cycle. And
so then what happens in that section then is that?
Right. At that section, look at that as a menopause for Mother Earth. She ceased from creating new beings.
Oh.
That's set as a de-origination cycle. No, that's the top left. The bottom left now is called the revolutionary cycle. And that's where it's called an evolution. Yeah. So it's called an evolutionary cycle, Yeah, the evolutionary cycle. Okay.
And then is that just the new beings being?
Yeah, people starting. Yeah, to evolve and onto land. Okay. Now each quarter is roughly 17.5 million years.
So this is where he stole the information about Mother Earth going through a menopause. So this is in the introduction to the Nature and Nature Book 2, and they need to give credit where it's due. So it says, listen to reason. It is a fact that the positive productions of Mother Goddess Gaia Earth begin at 0.6 east on the order circle and go counterclockwise to 0.6 west. However, the production of the pygmy gods and goddesses stops at 0.9 north, and this cessation stoppage of pygmy god and pygmy goddess births is called her menopause. For the top half, the positive world of the smat circle of order. From this point, 9 north, which he keeps referring to as 12 o'clock, it is not 12 o'clock, there are no more flesh and blood beings born on Mother Earth and in the universes, until Goddess Earth and nature in general arrive at 0.6 west on the order circle. The cause of the stoppage in gestating gods and goddesses at 0.9 north is the fact that Mother Earth is over the hill in age and energy, and thereby creates no more conditions for producing eggs via the brain new gods and goddesses. It is likely true that the negative productions of Mother Goddess Earth begin at 0.6 west and go counterclockwise to 0.6 east. Nonetheless, the production of different kinds of human races stops at 0.3 south. And this cessation of human race births is called her menopause for the bottom half of the negative world of the smash circle of order. So it's two menopauses that happen at the top and at the bottom of the smash circle of order. From this point, 3 South, there is no more different kinds of people and animals born from the matter of Mother Earth and the universes until she and nature in general arrive at point 6 east on the order circle. Then the African pygmy gods and goddesses return to human form as before. Let it be remembered always. So this is where they got that from, and they can't explain it. So now we're going to go into where he said that each section of the smash circle is 17.5 million years. So this is the introduction to the Nature in Nature Book 3. Here is a very easy to understand smash circle. The entire smash circle is 72 million years. One full turn around the entire circle is 72 million years, which makes each section 18 million years apiece. So wherever he got 17.5, nobody knows. But let's continue.
The 17.5 million years.
So is that a cycle, or has that just happened once because that was when we got seeded?
Yeah, the whole one complete revolution of we call it the smash circle of space, matter and time, SMAT, circle of space, matter and time. One complete revolution of the whole thing is 72 million years.
Okay.
Yeah, 72 million years. And yeah, okay. So by the time we hit the evolutionary cycle, we then evolved onto land. And we lost our ability to live underwater. This is where you got your mermaids and mermaids from, when they came onto land. But wait. Yeah, sorry?
Damn it, Toby. Pick up the phone.
Yeah. So we came onto land, we started to we lost our gills and the buoyancy systems had to be evolved into what we are right now.
Are we saying that mermaids are true?
Mermaids are true, yeah.
The pygmy gods wasn't no mermaids. That's a lie. Do not believe that. That is a lie.
So it's due to, again, all this, what we use is sirens or sirens for the feminines. We have mermaids and mermaids. Okay. So what's happening is that now this form that we're taking out on right now is conducive for us on land, and we are still evolving. So now, let's say we are transforming, because just like how the planet Earth is terraforming, we too are transforming.
There's been a question in the comments